comes the hand that is gonna slap. Give me your face so I can give it that. But I won't warn you, here comes the pain. Your cheek is right, it's just my type for a quick swipe. Because I'm slappy. Slap along if you hit a face, and it doesn't matter why. Because I'm slappy. Slap along if it gives you joy, and you just want to see them cry. Because I'm slappy. Slap along if the mirror shows a hand that's red and bright. Because I'm slappy. Slap along if you're hit so hard that day turns into night.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard College for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes out in Milford, Connecticut. That open, of course, our tribute to Birdman, that single shot. 4-day weekend for you guys. Seton, do you guys watch the show back when you guys are off?
Honestly, no. It's like the show doesn't even exist anymore. I don't even have a job. I don't know the first thing about what happens until I'm like, well, it's like Sunday. I better see how things are going. Other than that, I'm out of sight, out of mind.
All right, well, over the weekend.
I watched the,
yes, go ahead.
I watched the first hour of a Thursday show and bits and pieces of Friday, but I tend to agree with Seton. If we're going to be really off, it's, I think the healthy thing to do is if other people are handling the shows while we're off, to maybe just kind of distance ourselves and spend a little time with the family.
But that being said, you watch the show.
Well, I watched the first hour, but I didn't stick with it. And Friday, I watched very little of it, not even enough where it would make any kind of blip.
So you're saying Chris Mannix wasn't that entertaining Friday?
Yeah,
Couldn't hold your interest.
It was less
That's
about
a shot at Chris
it
and
was
Kay.
less about Chris and Kay being entertaining and more about like, I'm off. Let me should maybe take a break.
Well, that's
and
the
just
last time
tune
they
it
filled
out.
in for us, I watched
Yeah.
most of that show because I was curious to see how they do. And then this time I was just like, oh, okay,
you've
cool,
seen
they're
them
in
do it
good.
before.
We're good. Don't worry about it.
Make sure we're on the air.
I'm staying asleep.
Well, sadly, UNC former coach Dean Smith passed away over the weekend. Paulie, DP seemed pretty buttoned up emotionally over this. Which celebrity death has been hardest for him to cover?
Man, that's a tough question, Brock. Oh, man, I got to think about this one. I guess, I don't know how many people he's known that have died as far as celebrities.
I feel like it's usually like things from when he was a kid or something. Like if somebody that he looked up to, and then eventually because of the business, maybe got to know them a little bit.
I didn't work with Dan when Pete Maravich passed away, but I'm betting that was a guy that was close. I think of guys like Hank Aaron or Pete Maravich, guys he lost. Jerry West. Jerry West is in great shape. Hopefully, he'll be around a long, long time. But I don't look forward to the day that Jerry West passes away, and we happen to be on air that day or the next day. But
Recently Stuart Scott was
but they didn't have that close of a relationship off the air.
Right.
Let's not kid each other. They just didn't hang out that much. They worked different schedules, and they didn't live anywhere near each other. They lived an hour away. So.
But it was interesting. That's the first ESPN luminary who
Sure.
passed away. I was thinking about last night during the Grammys. They do the tribute at the end. During the Emmys, this is terribly morbid thought. Does Dan get in that during the TV reel? Does he get when he passes?
When he dies?
Yeah, will he be in that because he's a TV legend?
But
Will
do they
Berman
put
and
sports
Dan,
guys in there?
Well, would Berman and Dan and Oberman cross over? I don't know. Maybe.
I think. I mean, I guess it's primetime Emmy Awards.
Yeah.
Dan's not a primetime performer. So
Yeah.
maybe he doesn't make it because of that distinction.
I don't know. I was just thinking about B. Stewart was the really first ESPN. Tom Meades passed away.
Yeah.
But I think those will be the hardest for Dan to cover. Is luminaries, fellow media members who died might be really hard.
Someone asked me over the vacation. Wow, that you brought this up. If Dan passed away, someone asked me this in a very morbid conversation.
That's weird.
If Dan passed away on like a Monday night, would we do the show the next day?
Definitely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Completely agree.
He would want us to, I'm sure. It's as awkward and horrible as it was.
Oh, no question.
And what our states of mind would be to get through that soon after. It's horrible to think of that, but I think he would, out of respect to him, he would have more respect that we did the show and didn't supposed to take it off.
I'll tell you right now, we'd still go to Mike Bianchi at 9:35 if the
Oh, yeah.
Orlando Magic had a big
Right, well,
story.
Jacques Vaughn got fired.
No, we're gonna just pencil Kawakami into 11:20. I don't care.
John
Dan
McClain.
would want it that way.
John McClain, Houston Chronicles. See how what the quarterback situation is.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt.
Bickley, whatever, there's always a story.
There's always something to report on.
Well, okay. The passing of Dean Smith, very sad, and one of his former players, Vince Carter, called in today and talked about his old coach.
There's Dean Smith, the coach, Dean Smith, the person, and I always thought Dean Smith, the person, was better than Dean Smith, the coach, and he's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
For sure. I mean, he was very humble. He was very shy, in my opinion. He actually, I invited him to one of my galas that I had here, not here, but in Daytona Beach. And Coach Smith wasn't one for being in the limelight in the public eye. He didn't like people to say Dean Smith in the North Carolina Tar Heels. He would like to say the North Carolina Tar Heels. Coached by Dean Smith. He was that type of guy.
Yeah, it's very moving to see. It's one thing, you read tweets and, you hear like little tributes or see tributes on different shows and things like that. But to actually hear, live a former player or someone that was close at least for a period of time with Coach Smith, that really jumps out to me. It's just, for me anyway, it's just words on a page reading some of the columns and things you'd find in an obituary or nice adjectives to describe someone's personality traits or character. But when you have actual, whether it's a fellow coach or a former player that played under him and can share these stories like Vince did today, that's, to me, it hits a lot more close to home to hear the way they describe it personally.
Brock, we were talking here, and one of us could pass away. One of the Danettes could pass away, not just Dan. We always talk about Dan passing away. And we decided we each want to request, and we're gonna need a couple minutes to think about this. But the next day, let's say Seton or I or whatever, any of the guys passed away, they get to call one guest. Fritzy has to make the call to have them on to talk about them. Someone who's been on the show before, someone relatively famous. Not like mom, but someone you got along with on the show, guest-wise. So I think we're all going to think about those for the next couple minutes because we got to get our requests in. It's snowy out there. You never know what could happen.
That's a tough one. Oh my gosh.
McLovin, other than coaching MJ, what was Dean Smith's largest contribution to the game?
Dean Smith, well, the four quarters was probably the most obvious one.
Four what?
Four corners.
I thought you said 4 quarters.
4 corners.
He's the guy who invented the time
So
stamp
4
of
quarters.
the game of going
It used to be 3 quarters.
Little known fact.
And then someone, why would you do 3 quarters when you could do 4?
Right.
And it was always 2 halves.
Why would you do 3 quarters?
He invented the 4th quarter.
We also were talking today, he was a pioneer in the integration at North Carolina. First North Carolina coach to have a black player and one of the earliest coaches in the South to have a black player. But it's funny, I don't put Dean Smith is totally different than Bobby Knight and even Coach K. There's something, he seems like a nice kind of grandfatherly image, whereas Bobby Knight was as successful. They were both in the same level of success, but Dean Smith had an image as a great person, whereas you don't think of him for the 11 Final Fours and the 2 titles. You think of him because he was just a great dude. That's what everyone said, whereas Bobby Knight, you think of the success.
Yeah, Dean really didn't have a lot of incidents. Media on the court, off the court. He rarely got technical fouls. He was kind of a bland guy media-wise, but I think that was by choice.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, another guy that contributed largely to his game was Tiger Woods, and Notah Begay called in and weighed in on his latest disappointing withdrawal.
Golf's a very precise sport. Trying to get that club head on the ball and create a pretty straight shot is a difficult thing to do over 72 holes. And so the mechanical deficiencies leaked into his confidence, and then confidence leads into doubt, and then it's just a avalanche of doubt and second guessing after that. And that's kind of what we're seeing, this sort of culmination of physical scar tissue from his injuries, mental scar tissue from playing a lot of bad golf, and now confidence is definitely lower than it's been in a long time.
Really crazy to see how Tiger's just completely fallen apart. And I've always tried to, while he's been getting just torn apart for his personal life, we love to tear down people who are really great and try to appreciate, just how we're never going to see another Tiger Woods again or somebody to do what he did. It's really a shame to watch sort of the tail end of this, especially because it feels like it's way too early.
And then at what point does the average golf fan, you're hearing all these stories that a huge gallery all of a sudden becomes almost no one following them? We were just discussing that and looking at a story where everyone was into it and now Tiger's not in it and people are leaving. When can the average golf fan move on and still enjoy golf if Tiger is not in the hunt?
Well, we're very familiar with this, and you guys will back me up here. It's like when we go somewhere with Dan. And Dan's there, and the mood's everyone's jumping around. Remember the meet and greet the other day?
Yeah.
When Dan leaves the room, it's like when Tiger misses the cut. It's like all of a sudden the room just kind of calms down a little bit.
Yeah, looking at each other like, well, why are we still here?
They're so excited. We're, Jason Day's here, and Phil Mickelson, and Dustin Johnson are here. But there's not like a rambunctious mood anymore when Dan leaves the building.
Air let out.
Oh, well, don't let the air let out, guys. Stick around. Beware the eyes of Dan.
I'll show the camera. I'll go right here, and you'll be able to see just how bad these things look.
Is this your Emmy reel?
Coach.
This right here could win an Emmy. Sorry if you have little kids and you're watching.
That's pretty creepy.
Welcome back to the box score. It's been at least a week since Dan has had a boo-boo, so reset the clock. The boss has Pinkeye. Seton, on a scale from 1 to Costas, how bad is this?
Oh, boy. Well, see, this is part of my problem with the Pinkeye thing. Dan's like saying that this is his big move to get an Emmy. He's really just trying to do what Costas already did. So I think it's actually backfiring.
He should have created a different disease to have this week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I appreciate the conjunctivitis versus Pinkeye play that he had. That was pretty good. But it really just looks like sort of like, sloppy seconds at this point.
You know what that looks like.
Sloppy seconds.
Well, you guys know that Pinkeye is extremely contagious, so there's not too many places you can hide from his sort of pustule peepers, and we've figured out sort of the percentages of you guys actually contracting Pinkeye from Dan. Paulie, I'm going to put you at the lowest at 10% because you despise human contact. Seton, there's a 55% chance that you'll have red eyes at the end of the day that have nothing to do with Pinkeye. McLovin, I'm going to put you right in about the 65 percentile because you would just want to have Pinkeye just to have an inside joke with Dan. And Fritzy, you're 100%. I mean, do you have a ophthalmologist standing by?
I really should. Actually, I think right after the show's over, I'm going to go get looked at because I have immune system issues, and I think there's an extremely good chance that something's going to happen to one or both my eyes in the next few hours.
One or both.
Well, apparently Pinkeye also makes you extremely colorblind because Dan wore the most outrageous outfit ever seen on television today. Maybe a nod to Serena Williams or Bretta Kramer, I don't know. Paulie, you're the self-appointed man cave fashion sheriff. Does this go along with Dan's quilted shirt or maybe Fritzy's oatmeal sweater?
Oh, wow, yeah, it's in that legendary status.
Whoa.
It's tough because you want to tell someone they're dressing horrendously, but then you also don't because it's a lot more funny if they just wear that shirt on air. I mean, Callaway makes a lot of good products, and that's a golf shirt. It's supposed to be on a golf course, not inside a cozy little room like this.
Like we didn't even have to put him up to wear that. Like he chose to on
conscious
his own.
choice.
And he stood up confidently about it,
was-
like, well, this is just like a normal shirt.
It's not the most horrendous thing you've ever seen.
Good TV. Bad for him.
Well, the boss is going to need a new suit because he is going job hunting next. Don't want to miss this. Stick around. Welcome back to the box score. With media super genius Colin Cowherd calling Dan out for his lack of work ethic, we figured Dan might throw out some resumes to sort of redeem himself in the eyes of the sports talk king Colin Cowherd and get some more jobs. Well, with more jobs, there's got to be more headlines. Well, at the least we could do here at the box score is have a special edition of this.
Mock Headline Battle Royale!
I will give you the I'll give you the job opening for DP. You give me a mock headline associated with that. First headline is Dan becomes host of the NBC Nightly News after Brian Williams admits to fabricating a story. Paulie, start us off.
Before we get started, Brock, I want to let you know we've all been scratching our eyes for the past 3 minutes, and it's like psychosomatic. We all think we have pink eye. My headline is, NBC, D. Pizzle gets the big chair.
Very nice. Smattering of applause.
Oh.
Fritzy.
Lion Williams, DP to spread feathers behind Peacock news desk.
Can't believe you used the word cock and used it properly.
Wow.
That's the last time that's going to happen.
I'm going to channel a former NBC newsman here with this one. Liar, liar, pants en fuego. Patrick to host El Lightly.
Boo, boo. McLovin.
Liar, liar.
This is simple and to the point. D. Peacock.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I like it.
Why not?
I like it.
No problem with plagiarism here.
Usually you go really long. I respect that.
Next up, truncated that was, Dan becomes Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski's personal party schedule manager. Seton, what do you got?
Hepatitis DP. Penicillin sales soars as livers swell in New England.
Soars.
Yes, it's sore, like a sore.
Yeah.
Penicillin swells.
I'm killing it.
McLovin.
Deflate Mate. DP set to party with half Jewish Julian Edelman and Gronk.
Yeah, half Jewish.
Oh.
Deflate Mate? That's not bad.
You're a mensch. Paulie.
I really didn't have a headline for this one, but I know Dan would be dead in a month. That's all I know. He'd be dead in a month.
And Fritzy.
I went with Dan Party Trick. Popular host tries booking. Dan Party Trick. Patrick Party Trick.
I think if we all vote, we can just eliminate Fritzy from the rest of this. You don't even have to read it.
That's the next two.
That's the worst headline since we started doing
Patrick
headlines on
Party
the
Trick.
Box.
Our next
Tries
job
booking.
headline is Dan becomes Tiger Woods' glute activator after Tiger withdraws from tournament with deactivated glutes. McLovin, start us off.
Yeah, I was trying to play off gluten-free, and all I came up with was free your glutes, the rest will follow.
It's not good at all.
It's not good at all.
I mean,
Very
Still better
in
than
vogue.
I just said.
I don't
true.
know what
It
means.
is.
Very in vogue. Paulie.
Gluty and the Blowfish. Dan ditches Darius for Tiger. Gluty and the Blowfish.
Solid.
Rockets.
Fritzy.
Wow.
Glute Factory. Dan won't horse around with Woods. Will whip him into shape. Glute Factory.
You're in a big hole.
Seton.
I really had. It's just about over for me.
I'm taking a page from Andrew's playbook here. Gluten-free. Patrick asks Woods, Keen, what's happening with your golf game? Quinoa. That's a little quinoa here.
That's
Quinoa.
very healthy.
It's very high in protein for
It's
a grain.
gluten-free,
Very
too.
healthy.
So that's
That'll clean you
Good
out.
grain.
quinoa.
Good grain.
And finally, Dan becomes co-host of The Herd with Colin Coward. Fritzy, what's your headline?
How fascinating and not irrelevant. ESPN Radio gets colonoscopy.
Seton.
Hello, anybody.
Lazy night in America?
Lazy night.
Lazy night in America?
Yeah. McLovin.
Brr. Grab your jacket. Hell just froze over.
Very biblical. Paulie.
Just like Fritzy, fascinating and irrelevant. Next on ESPN Radio.
Oh, these were all good, but the winner of the mock headline championship belt goes to Seton. Congratulations.
Thanks, it's been a while. It's been a while. Thanks, Twos.
Oh, congratulations. Now go out there and get another job, DP, because having 5 isn't enough for Colin, who only has 1. Stay with us. We are handing out the most coveted award in the world. It's the box scoring. We're closing up shop here on the box score. Last night was the Grammys. No, I didn't watch. There was a 22-hour Rugrats marathon. Tommy Pickles, classic. Well, according to all the news outlets, this is something I should be concerned about, but I don't. I'm on the box score. We have our very own music awards. It's time for the Box Score Awards. Each of you has a song that best describes your row partner. So, with the nominations for Best Song to Call Out a Danette, here's Paul Pabst with...
All right, this describes Seton O'Connor. It's by the great group The Cramps, and it's called Dames, Booze, Chains, and Boots by The Cramps.
Great. Perfect.
That's pretty good there. That covers a lot of ground.
Toddy Joe Fritz with...
I've got for Mr. Andrew McLovin Perloff, I was going to go with Thomas Dolby. She blinded me with Science because Andrew is so bright. Science! But I decided to go with Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake because I think McLovin is very underrated in terms of his sexual prowess. And I was looking back at those Super Bowl clips and walking around as the Miami Vice with the Crockett Tubbs outfit. And even though there was one young lady that kind of spurned him, I think he's got it going on. And we all know more and more women are letting us know that they watch the show because of how
You have it going on.
he is.
Sexual prowess.
You have something going on.
Nothing like hearing one of your male coworkers talking about your sexual prowess on national TV.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, no one knows what goes on under the desk.
All right, Seton O'Connor. What do you have?
So I thought a lot about this, and I did a lot of research, and I always came back to one song, and it's by a band called Rush, and the song is called Tom Sawyer.
Hell yeah.
Modern day warrior, mean.
Just in case you're scoring at home, Rush still kicks ass.
Right.
Andrew
Rush Tom
McLovin
Sawyer.
Perloff. What do you have?
You know, I can't. There's no song about Chinese food and softcore porn.
Pepperoni pizza, nothing.
You know, and,
Not one?
Fritos.
but you look at this
Hero
guy.
Shows, nothing.
One song keeps popping into my head.
Stroke by Billy Squier?
No,
I touch myself in Del Vinyls.
no, those two are
Those are
apps.
strong.
Beat it,
I'm
Michael
too
Jackson.
sexy for my shirt. Right,
Look at
Seth?
it, we both
Right.
got the sex thing.
Yeah.
I'm too sexy for my shirt sleeves.
Yeah, you were definitely an I'm too sexy
Sexy
guy.
for pants and underwear.
Yeah,
That's nice.
in
That's
2000, you used to strut down the runway.
Back in
here.
the day, a long time ago. Now it's
David Hasselhoff?
very snug in the stomach now.
You
Like,
never
go on
wore.
to there.
There was a 3-year period of life where you never wore a shirt.
That was very true. I spent the one whole summer in camp as a counselor trying to show off by not wearing a shirt. I would get
Who are you
yelled
trying
at.
to show off for?
So some of the CITs and stuff like that, and I was like
Counselor
kinda,
training.
I was like, yeah, I was kind of like picking up kids in my group and like kind of doing curls with them to try to get a little pump going in the sun.
Amazing you're never incarcerated.
Yeah, how are you not?
Yeah, some kid's
Wearing
shaking his hand at the TV right now. And the box score goes to McLovin. Congratulations.
Good research.
There it is.
Nicely.
Handwritten. It's beautiful.
Accurate as the real.
And by the way, I'm wearing Versace if anyone wants to know. If you have better suggestions, you can hit us up on Twitter at The Box Score Show. Send it to Box Score Grammy Ripoff Awards Show, name the Box Scores, or hashtag BSGROASNTBS for short.
Blow it up.
Booyah! Break the internet. Toddy Joe, who's on tomorrow?
We've got Grant Hill, Spike Lee, and James Worthy all among the luminaries for the Tuesday edition of the Dan Patrick Show.
Holy crap, that's a big one.
How about that?
That was.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching The Box Score.
I was
We will be
ready. I
back
was
tomorrow
prepared.
at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239. The podcast is also available on iTunes or at podcast1.com.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy